Today I saw a picture of Jude with a child. Not one of the fair-haired nieces I remembered from photographs around the old house who would be grown by now, but a dark-haired little girl. 3 or 4 years old, still soft-cheeked, straight hair cropped at her chin, a short fringe that looked home-trimmed, eyes so brown they were almost black, a cupid's bow mouth stained with berries at the creases, Jude's lips. The photograph had been featured in an article about a portrait prize for capturing contemporary Australian life. The artist herself was unfamiliar to me, but it had come up when I searched Jude's name. Such a long time since I'd seen or heard from him, though sometimes, lonely and between lovers, I looked him up online. There was never much to find. Jude had remained a great resistor of technology, it seemed, in the time we'd been apart, preserving his privacy and his solitude. Within a few years of the fire, he had all but disappeared. But then this, Jude and his daughter overlooking a green valley at a farm or vineyard. Mountains behind them, bluing with distance. Somewhere in Tasmania, low grey fog lingering above the hills like a memory of smoke. It was something in the way he held her. That's how I knew she was his. Not composed and smiling the way you would be when holding someone else's child to show that everyone is having a good time. They were caught off guard, Jude with his back to the camera and the girl in his arms. She was peering over his shoulder at whoever was taking the picture. He'd turned, just at the moment the shutter fell. His lips parted, as if about to speak. His face had aged, skin creased and papery at the corners of his eyes and the folds of his neck, which looked sunburned and tender, his hair cut shorter now. If I am 37, Jude would be 55. Old, perhaps, to be a first-time father, and he did look tired, a dark patch beneath each eye like a stain, a new vulnerability to his expression. It was a beautiful photograph, and I was surprised how much that hurt. The greens lush and saturated like a country fresh with rain, color so rich I could almost taste the earth, the water in the air, the little girl's expression solemn and soft, the art of it, the intimacy of that gaze. Briefly, it seemed like I had stumbled across an image from another life, that what I had seen was none other than the unrealized possibility of our long-ago love. "You're hung up on the past," my mother said to me earlier tonight. "Why carry all that around with you?" We were standing in the kitchen of her house in the Blue Mountains west of Sydney, and I was watching her attempt to slice through a lime with a butter knife. I remembered this feeling from when I was younger. We had moved so often when I was growing up that in the process of packing up or unpacking, we were always missing some essential tool for whatever task was at hand. Things got lost along the way. We made do with what we had. I'd been trying to describe what it felt like to be back here, staying in her spare room again after living overseas for so long. It was like time collapsed along with distance, I said, though I'd had the sense not to mention Jude or the photograph. She hadn't understood. She thought I was talking about something else. "You can still have a baby if you want one," she said, soaring bluntly at the fruit. "Isn't that what the doctor said?" In New York, I'd sent plastic vials of my blood in the mail to a clinic in Manhattan. I was asking a question about fertility, which is to ask a question about time. My results had come back indicative of a diminished ovarian reserve. In my confusion, my shock, I heard reserve and thought of reservoirs, of lakes, of rivers, depleting natural resources, my body like a body of water. Without asking any further questions, I hung up on the specialist mid-sentence and called my mother. "Come home," she'd urged. "Get a second opinion. There's no shame in coming home, you know."